Welcome to my Best 11 podcast. Today we are joined by Wayne Turner, ex-Luton, Lincoln, Coventry, Brentford, Barnet player. Grew up Luton boy, born and bred, and interestingly, also went on and spent a little bit of time coaching and managing in the local area with Stevenage and coaching at Luton. How are you, Wayne?
I'm good as gold, boys. Nice to see you both.
Excellent, excellent. Marvin, how are you feeling this morning?
I'm good, Andrew. I'm looking forward to this episode because I just missed out on Wayne when I joined the club. Wayne was had just left and gone to Coventry, was it? I think Coventry in '85.
Yeah,
was
Coventry.
It,
yeah,
Coventry. And so, but managed to work with him when he came back as he was a coach. And so, yeah, had some good times.
So I'm sure there's some very funny stories coming out from coaches as well. So what we're going to do is, those people who haven't listened to the podcast before, we get Wayne to go through his best 11 players he's ever set foot on a pitch with, in any capacity. Obviously, most of them tend to be professional, but also some do include maybe some friendlies in there as well. But most of them are going to be there. What we start off with is formation, and then let Wayne take it from there, because you're here to listen to him, not myself or Marv. So, Wayne.
Formation.
What are you going for?
Right. Well, this is an interesting one. Without telling you where it was, I think it'll stand out a mile. I love it today. I love a 4, a 3.5, and a 2.5. So it's in between a 4-4-2 and a 4-3-3. There is method in my madness, and I'll explain as we go along. It's a lazy left, if you like. That's what I'll call it. But I do love a 4, 3.5, 2.5, which gives us a little bit of balance to the way I always like to play. It's something I learned in my playing days that I took into my coaching. You could say sometimes we ended up with a 4, 3.5, no half, bit of 2, bit of anything. But if it didn't work, it looked dreadful. But it's a great shape to have, and we'll explain it as we go through.
Sounds interesting.
I'm a little bit confused with the word lazy. I would never associate that with you, Wayne. Lazy, the lazy left.
No, he had to be your best player, Marv, that could win the game when the ball landed at his tippy toes. If it didn't, it'd be sitting with me. That's in the coaching. It's as playing, I'll be booting him up. There is one great story, a great story. While we're on it quickly, I was playing for Barnet towards the end of my career, middle of midfield. Injuries galore, everything's falling apart. So I wanted to sort of direct the traffic as best I could from the middle of the pitch. And there was a lad called Frank Murphy, great player, great footballer. And we were flying down the right wing with Eddie Steen, by the way. Eddie was a good player, playing wide right down at Barnet. And he's just about to put a cross in. And I watch Frank Murphy, you're talking about laziness, he's wide left, but he's playing down the middle, he's sort of inside left channel, can attack the box. He sees the cross going near post. He's got no chance of getting it. So what he does, he darts a little bit quicker towards the middle of the goal, because he knows the goalie's going to catch it and throw it to the opposite right back. And he doesn't want to track the right back. So he don't see that I've seen what he's done as the cross is coming in. He's that clever and that lazy. He'd rather run 10 yards to no man's land where he can't get anything than be caught in between the two when the goalie throws the ball over his head to the right back. Boy, oh boy, did he get some stick. That was lazy. Can you imagine that? He was so clever, he made a run to be lazy. It was brilliant. So, yeah. So, by the way, Murph's not in my team. But he's a great lad. I love him. He's great.
I'll say already Christmas card list after that comment.
No. To be fair, Murph knew what he did. We had banter. But at the time, when you're struggling, and I'm the one that's got to get out there, because I've read it, do you know what I mean? I'm getting a taxi out to the wide left. It's not a good thing to be doing. But, yeah, no, he's a good lad, Murph, but he knew how to miss a bit of our craft. But that was lovely. A classic, yeah.
So, move straight away. Goalkeepers.
Right.
And we allow honourable mentions as well before you get on to actual keeper.
First one for team spirit, banter would be my good friend Gary Phillips, which he did the most with his body and his physique. He'd do well to get on this podcast. He's as wide as my room in here, so he's growing by the minute, guys. And he was a fantastic keeper for what he was blessed with. Great positioning, great technique, and we had him at Brentford and Barnet. And for entertainment value, he would be in my team from day one. You know what I mean? We'd have a laugh going into training every day. We got the stage, you won't know, Mark, but when phones first come out in the cars, we used to get a landline and put it in his car and pull up at the lights in London because we were so bored getting into training. Just wind down the window and tell the people next door it's for them. It's a call for them. And they'd stick around. We'd just give them a phone. And Gaz would love it. And he'd pull up anywhere he could and give someone a phone and say, excuse me, there's a call for you. And just pass it over to the person on the lights. But for fun, after games, he knew how to celebrate a win. We all did at Brentford. And he'd be there for celebratory reasons. But on football ability, I've been lucky. You mentioned Les Seeley. Les, again, was fantastic at shifting the blame. He was one of the best goalkeepers. Yours, mine, away. What are you doing, Wayne? And it was always me and him at the back post having a row if I was playing left back, which was a lot of time I was. And he was a class act, but if anything went wrong, it was never his fault. So Les, God bless his soul, was a great deflector of any. Well, you have to be as a goalie, don't you, Marv? Andrew? Because if it goes in, you're the last line of defence, and it can't be your fault because you've got to play the next half hour or the next hour, you know, with a mistake in your back pocket. So he had a great.
Out with the fans about 3 meters behind you as well.
Oh yeah, without doubt. Yeah, the fans breathing down your neck. So Les had a great knack of shifting any blame, you know, especially that cross that come in between you, Marv, you know, at centre back, and you're just waiting for him to come, and he ain't coming anywhere. So, yeah, great laugh as well. Could sell you anything, Marv, couldn't he?
Yeah.
Could sell sand to the Arabs. He was that good at flogging things, and he turned up with this hat, that hat,
suitcase,
you name it. Oh, yeah, suitcase. So another great character. And before I give you the clue to me goalie that I picked, I played with another great goalkeeper, Steve Grizovic, at Coventry.
Yep.
Who was a complete opposite to Les. He was a real man mountain, complete opposite to Gary. Tall, 6'4", but struggled with his feet. Great with his hands, but because he was so tall and so high, he did struggle sometimes with the back pass and the kicking side of it. But handling, magnificent. You know, cross-taking, shot stopping, a reach, and did brilliant, and took them all the way to the FA Cup. So, yes, that was a great goalkeeper to play amongst. And I don't know if you know, I'll drop this one in as quick as we can before we move on to my team, because there will be maybe in that career of Coventry, Brentford, Barnet, as well as Luton.
Don't take away too many of our guesses then.
No. I'm giving you the teams, not the players. I'm giving you the team. I've got to give them a clue. They won't know where I've been. I've got to repeat what Dave said. So Andy said. So, we had... do you know I left? I was captain of Coventry and left 6 months before they won the FA Cup. I walked out of Coventry in 1987, 6 months before they picked the FA Cup up, beating Tottenham. And the only person in that team at the start of that season that left was me. All the others went to Wembley. So get your fans and get the guys to just shed a tear for me in the 87 season. Okay, that they got the medal and I got the goodbye, see you later, Wayne.
What? But you've raised it now. Why? Why did you do that? Why did you leave?
Because it was one of them situations where you look back in life and you look at maybe some of these players in the team and you think, what a good side that was. You know, studied with players right through from Cyril Regis to Brian Kilcline to, you know, players of that ilk that you're playing in between, Lloyd McGrath, lads that were such good footballers for that club that you fell out with a manager at the time, which was, it was a joint managementship, if you remember. John Seeley and George Curtis did it together. Yeah, and memory serves me, we was away in Spain at the end of the season and John Seeley called me over by the swimming pool. He was looking gorgeous. He was, John sunbathing. And he said to me, Wayne, he said, just to let you know, if I'm the manager, you're the captain. If George is the manager, you're leaving. I went, oh, great. So that was how the team talk went by the pool. And they did it together. But by all accounts, me leaving meant that George had the final say, I think, and that was it. And literally 2-3 days after we got back from pre-season, that was me lot. Went off to Brentford and they went on to the FA Cup, which was amazing because they beat the Tottenham team, didn't they, that Blissey had?
Yeah.
Where Clive Allen got the 49 goals and they beat them in the final. So it just shows you that when I do pick a couple of players, sorry?
And Bennett ripped Mitchell to shreds on the wing.
Well, you said that, Marvin, didn't you? To be fair, so I'll leave that with you. I remember the game. I was crying watching it. I remember the game. So I was on the roof down in Southend above my mate's pub watching it. It was devastating. But they deserved it. They were brilliant, and you're right. On the day, they did brilliant, didn't they? Coventry. Yeah. But yeah,
I'm just giving Mitchell some playful stick because Mitchell's not been on there yet. Can you believe it? He just keeps like darting and dodging the bullets, and I don't know why. So I'm just giving him some playful stick.
Well, we had a little get together last week with Blissey. I've organised it, and 12 of us went up to Birmingham for a little night out. Well, a meal, not a night out, a meal with David. And there was 12 of us. Mitchell turned up, but boy, oh boy, was he hard work to get him there. When he got there, he was A1. But to get him there, oh my God, he is. He ain't. He is. And he finally turned up. I was shocked when he turned up. It was great. We had a great night, great day, great night. But I got up for breakfast. He'd already gone home. So do you know what I mean? But it was lovely. We had a good turnout. There was some good lads there. All from David wanted the 81-82 season that got the promotion. And and before we go on about the team, last little fact, you're going to love this one as well, guys. In that season, 81-82, I was 20 years old and went on loan with Colin Murphy, was the manager.
Yeah.
At Lincoln.
I remember Colin.
Murph, His best mate at the time and still is very close to him, though he's not well, so hopefully he's okay. But went there and had a great run in their team, and we were fourth from bottom, and we finished second at top as I was coming home in March after my loan, because we had an extra month, because in that winter there was so much snow in December that they give me another month on my loan. Anyway, come back, and I played the last 7 games of the promotion team, ended up with 11 appearances, right, for Luton when I got back. The night that Lincoln are playing Fulham at Craven Cottage to go up, and we was all insured to earn £3,500 off Murph. He'd done an insurance across Lincoln's football club. Luton's getting awarded the trophy down the town hall and being shown off to the crowd. I haven't got a medal. I'm not part of it, and I'm running outside listening to the radio to see how Lincoln are getting on against Fulham, knowing that I'm going to get a medal and I'm going to get £3,500. They drew 1-1. They drew 1-1 with a header against them. We had to win. Fulham had to draw. Fulham went up, and Lincoln never. And all the lads are going mad in the town hall, and I'm just crying again. I've hit the post again, and so. Hopefully everyone's feeling sorry for me in this podcast because, do you know what I mean? I've had a rough ride. But, true it was. The same night.
Wow.
So there we go. Right.
Goalkeepers.
we go off on a tangent. Infamously, was one of the 3 keepers, you know this one, Marv, played at Liverpool in the same game.
Oh, yeah.
So... in the season that, and I ended up playing 3 different positions the same day to compensate for all the silly people that kept going in goal. So, yes, he was a great keeper. Out of all the ones I played, we've had the complete game at that time. And even now today, talking about what we said about feet, being able to half volley a ball, incredible distances with incredible accuracy, could do that as well. So,
Scottish?
He's my goalkeeper.
Is he Scottish?
No. Oh, yeah, plastic Scottish. Don't give too much away, Marv. Do you know what I mean? Oh, are you going to guess it? Or you got to guess it?
I'm trying, but I don't know I'm not sure if I know who it is. I'm going to try and guess it. Yeah, I'm going to try and guess it. When we ask you questions,
Yeah, he's Scottish. Yes, he's Scottish. Yeah, you'll get this one. We won't get the
Marvin? Oh yeah, I've got it already. It's yeah, go on, Marv.
Jake Finley.
Yes.
Yeah. He was a master. He had a combination of all them lads there. Good laugh, could take a cross, great delivery, could blame someone else when he wanted to. So he was good at that and all. But he was an outstanding all-round goalkeeper for that era. He was that good for everything you'd want. And he was the main reason. Oh, and don't forget Alan Judge. Judge, a good mate of mine that would push Jake as well, to be fair. There was a time where Judgy was Jake's number 2 for a few years. And he pushed him all the way because he was such a great pro, Judgy. But if you're looking at out-and-out class, then Jake would be your goalkeeper. Okay, boys, right back?
Right backs. Huh? Right back, yes.
You're flying. Oh, you're flying through it. I was about to ask you a question about Jake then. But
sorry, go on. No, because I thought I was talking too much.
No, sorry. We want you to talk.
Oh, good.
Because Jake's obviously been picked before with some other players, and I had already, obviously, when I joined, Jake had already left, but I didn't realise. I mean, I think Ricky picked him, and Rob picked him, and he was very good with his feet.
I think Mike Sassby picked him as well.
Yeah, technically, as with his feet, unbelievable, apparently.
Yeah, as what we just said there, nowadays you want that, but he had an extra set on his right foot that he could arrow it into people, half volley, off the ground. He had a great right foot, and he could, to be fair, he could do his left foot, but obviously when you got that quality on the right side, you roll it back to him, or and then there was a changeover, wasn't there, the back pass rule and all that. So he was that quality. You mentioned Dibbs, who I coached, played with him a little bit. Kelvin Davis, who I coached. We've been blessed, at Luton. Been blessed with some really, really good goalkeepers over the years. Really good keepers, which obviously has helped with the success with the clubs. I know we got the points deducted and we got plummeted down, but to come back, you've always got to have a solid base. And the goalkeeper, for me, is a massive part of that base. And Jake, affectionately known as the Ox, because of his appearance, but yes, he was a great goalkeeper, and I think, like you say, going back, you'll get people mentioning him because of that, So, I saw him Thursday, and I promise. Yeah,
did you? And going back to what you said about so much is emphasised on goalkeepers with their feet. I don't know if they do it now, Wayne, but back then, obviously, especially when I was playing, the keepers used to join in, didn't they, on the field? And playing actually, and do so. Therefore, they were quite decent with their feet back then, anyway. But I don't know if they would do it nowadays in the professional goalkeeping setup training. What they do, if they actually join in like a five-a-side or whatever, I don't know. But I mean, back then they joined in a lot.
Yeah, that was a Luton thing. I think that the goalies were encouraged to join in all the time, which was great. Obviously, they did their goalkeeping stuff. I think you lose a little bit, Marv, when the goalkeeping coach got involved. When the goalkeeping coach got involved a few years ago, they separated them from the group. Yes, and you had to pull them back. You had to say, look, we need him back here because, so it was difficult because they were doing lots of hands and feet, angles, hands and feet, quick eye and coordination, which obviously a goalie needs. But you need a complete picture, you need a complete mixture of what it is. And if you go through, I'm sure you're doing it out in the States and in Australia, if you go through USAL now, the goalies are doing loads of feet, and we've gone the complete opposite, where we have great feet, they've forgot their hands, like we spoke earlier, which is ridiculous. Do you know what I mean? But we did that, and you do lose that when the goalie gets taken away. So you're right, Marv, I think it's a godsend for goalkeepers, even at the highest level, to continually use their feet in this day and age. And Jake, going back 30 years, 25 years, was ahead of his game, knowing that feet was important, because you can, as Andrew rightly said, in the Euros, the goalies with good feet have stood out a mile. They stood out a mile, and Pickford's, epitomising that at a minute. So that's great.
Excellent.
Definitely. Right back.
Right, me right back has got a great pair of hands. No, I'm only joking. He can take a great throw in. No. Me right back could, again, we'll get to left back in a minute. And Marv, me and you had to play there because there's so few of them. But me right back, there's an abundance of right backs, there's attacking right backs, good defensive right backs. If I go back to Gary Paul, who played at Barnet, who went on to have a really good career at Birmingham and Charlton. He come from a nobody. Barry Fry got him from nowhere at Cambridge's youth stroke reserve side and made him into a player. And I had the pleasure of playing with him, and he was incredible at Barnet and went on to have a great career. Roger Joseph, the flying right back at Brentford, whose brother played up front, Franny. Sorry?
Do you pick Wimbledon as well?
He started at Brentford and he got a decent move to Wimbledon, and that's where he continued to done very, very well at the highest level. So again, he started me at Brentford, and his brother Francis Joseph up front was a top player and got a bad injury. But the two Joseph brothers was at Brentford, and Roger was decent. He could get up and down, all one-sided to be fair, all right-footed. Didn't really want to play with his left, but he had so much pace to get up and then recover. You know, one of them crowd pleasers where he could go on an overlap, whiz that crossing, and then really enjoy sprinting back. You know, I don't think you've ever done that, Marv, but he used to enjoy it. You know, one of them that run back quicker than they go forward, and you think, Jesus, wow, that is impressive. You know, they just love getting back to the halfway line quick, don't they? And you'll go, woo. Just turn the turbo off as he lands. You know, it's he was magnificent at that. You know, he could really join in and show you what he could do. So, you had him, you had Gary Paul, Tim Breaker, who was a quality right back for me at Luton when we played together. Again, a bit like Roger, but a bit more finesse, could join in a little bit more, could see the shorter pass as well as the longer one. Loved a little link round the corner, but had that great engine to get back again after he'd, because that's the thing with this 4, 3.5, 2.5. What it means is that obviously we won't jump in the midfield too quickly, but if you've got your right-sided midfield player tucked in, because your wide left is just wide left, lazy left, just rolling in, you need your pace and your energy from your right back. Because without your pace and energy from your right back overloading on the right, you sometimes don't get the width. Yeah. So you need that energy. So really, Roger could have played in that role. Tim Breaker definitely could have done and did do at times. And Kirk Stevens did as well. Kirk Stevens joined in that role when he was playing right back for Luton for the years I played there. He loved that joining in. He come back a little bit slower because he wanted everyone to see how beautiful he was on the way back. He didn't fly back, he just jogged back. But he still went forward at a rate of knots that was fantastic. And he had a great knack of joining in at the right times, because though he had loads of energy, he didn't have that blistering pace like Roger and maybe Tim, but he had a great knack of joining in late and fast. Do you love that terminology, Marv, late and fast? You must use that in your coaching. You know, like that late and fast where, you know, nowadays you get the real lazy right back who pushes on so early that when it breaks down, there's a massive gap between him and the right-sided centre-half. And the right-sided centre-half's pulling a caravan, gets caught, and you're murdered, didn't you? So late and fast, if the right backs, or any full-back really, the left back, right back, being patient with their joining in, they're in a great position when it breaks down. But as it evolves, they get there late and fast and revive. So that's one of my biggest coaching things. I'm coaching you now, Marv. It's ridiculous. How do we get on the coaching?
But like the best way, when I was at left back, the best, sorry to sidetrack you, the best one for me was in central midfield was Springy, because every single time I knew as that ball was coming from the right to the left into the middle to Springy, I took off because I knew Springy would give me the ball. Do you know what I mean? So as soon as the ball got to his feet, I was like, Springy! He would give me the ball no matter what. Because there's certain players you could like take off and the ball gets, and you call him and you think, he's seeing me, but he's not going to give me. But I could trust Springy 100% that I could take off and I know I would get that ball.
Yeah. Yeah, but more importantly than that, you had the brains and the vision to see the quality of the ball that was going to Springy. You knew with Springy's quality that he would be able to open up and give it to you. But if you thought that ball was at risk going to Springy, you would wait.
True.
Because you'd be sitting in a great defensive position that if Springy got robbed or it got cut out, there wasn't an ocean, and you could join in late and fast. Once Springy was received and comfortable, you're on your way. But a lot of left backs, a lot of right backs get up there so early because they don't want to do that late and fast, which is our graft, Mark, because you go late and fast and it still breaks down. You got to get back. Do you know what I mean? Whereas if you're up there too early and you don't bother coming back, your centre back's got to be some player.
That's another thing. I think, pretty smart in the knowledge that I'm thinking, if I had the ball coming me, it wouldn't be I wouldn't join in unless I knew the ball's going to come to me, then I wouldn't have to run back.
Yes.
Another way would be like the attacker, now the right winger, straight away as I've just joined in now, the ball's come to Springy, he's now got to track back. So I'm taking energy out of his legs for him tracking back.
That's it.
You know.
That's it. But it's great because it comes a cat and mouse as well, because if he wants to be lazy and let you run, and you've got your centre-back who's not now feeling too comfortable, whoever the left side was on the day, they're saying, look, I'm in trouble. So it's a cat. I love it. It's a cat and mouse. But you had that on the other side, didn't you? When you was left side centre-back. Yeah. And maybe Mitch went walkabouts or whatever. You're now thinking, oh, hold on a minute. I'm in trouble here if it breaks down, you know? But
to be fair, it used to be me sometimes going walkabout as a centre-back.
No, I did know that, but I didn't want to mention it.
Yeah.
The back three, the back three playing with you were going, oh, well, where's he going? So, yeah, walkabout City.
So your right back is going to be Wayne. Who's your
right? My right back, he's he missed a very important game through injury. 7 days before this game, he'd been ever present. He'd come from a big club to slightly a lesser club, but hadn't played. But then he went and played 400 games for this club in his career. An absolute quality right back going forward that had a great, not a complete opposite to what I'm talking about. He glided over the ground. He didn't speed, didn't tear, just glided up and glided back. Silky is what you'd call him. Never got caught 1v1s, always gave himself that extra half a yard because he wasn't lightning, but he certainly wasn't slow.
Was he in the international?
Got a B cap. Got a B cap for England.
It's the 400 games for one team that's thrown me.
400 games?
For one team?
Yeah, for one, it was late 300s, and I think with cup games and all that, he got to 400, Yeah, I'll just Google it, but I'm 100% sure. Hold on.
What club was he? I don't know. I mean, again, where was this at? Where were you?
Luton?
No. So carry on. He only had 5, so it weren't at Luton.
Coventry.
Yep.
Oh, I got it. No, shit. I thought he was. Oh, what was? Did he become a coach or a manager?
He done a bit of coaching, but he actually did it there.
At Coventry?
Yeah, a bit of coaching, yeah. I'll give you the exact games. Hold on.
Play for Coventry?
Oh, my word. 409.
409?
409 games. From 85 to 97. Top lad as well. I haven't seen him for a while.
Right back.
I'd love to catch up with him.
Was it where? Everton?
Right, he started at Everton, 27 games. Bolton, 95. Coventry, 409.
Was he not?
Done you, Andrew, ain't I?
No. What?
Yeah, I got no idea.
Do you have blonde hair? Fair hair?
Mousy.
Was he not left back? I thought he was left back.
No, that was Greg Downs. Downs.
No, I'm thinking about Burrows. Is it Burrows?
Yes.
Burrows. What's his name? Brian Burrows.
David Burrows. Brian Burrows.
Brian Burrows. Is that it?
Yeah, you're thinking of David Burrows that played for Liverpool, the blonde left back.
That's right. So it's Brian Burrows. Brian Burrows. That's it. Yes, that's who it is. Well dug out, Marv.
Dug out. Well done, Marv's.
Now you did. Now hold on. You didn't go on Google as well, did you?
No, I don't. That's cheating. I wouldn't do that. No, but I thought. I thought it was left back for some reason.
No. An out-and-out right back. played. I didn't realise till today. I checked because I knew he hadn't played in a cup final because he was crying with me in Magaluf when we met at the end of the game. And I couldn't remember why. And it was because he twisted his ankle the league game the week before. You know, like you got the last game of the season.
Yeah.
He'd done his ankle ligaments and didn't play in a cup final, which I didn't realise. So that was he didn't get a medal.
And back then it was just the players on the day that got the medal, whereas now
that's it. Just the 12,
it's the kit man's dog that gets one these days, don't they?
The washing up lady, everybody, yeah. So, but Bugsy didn't get a medal. Bugsy Burrows.
Brian Burrows.
So we'll move on to left back. Left back then. Let's switch to the other side.
Well, this one's quite easy. Where that one was hard, this is quite easy because I didn't play. Oh, I'll tell you this one. This is a good one. Now, if I put this guy at left back, you'd never get him. But
old Steve. Go on.
No. But he's very, very famous. Very famous, not just for football, for another sport. So if I tell you this left back that I played with, the one I've picked as the best player, you'll get.
Right.
Right. You've already got him. All right. It's Mitchell. All right. He's gone. Mitchell's my left back. Right.
Yeah.
So Mitchell's my left back for quality, spider, nasty, smash your legs in half in training, give you a lift and don't give you a lift, get you there, won't get you there, will turn up, won't turn up. But as a left back, up and down, vicious, winner, great career, great lad, come from nothing and really done himself proud. So he's my left back. But let's play a game with this other left back.
Go on.
I played with him early in my career. He
at Lincoln?
already been there 10 years, and he never had a day off because he also played cricket first class for the same 10 years.
Oh.
So he never had a pre-season for 10 years.
He never had a pre-season?
For 10 years, because he went from football to cricket back to football for 10 full seasons.
No, both of them played for Scunthorpe, didn't he?
Yeah, both of them played for Scunthorpe, yeah. No. And that was only a publicity stunt, both of them. You're talking about a proper footballer who was an outstanding left back, great man, good footballer, good player. And now
he's international?
Not at football, at cricket. Yes, he played the odd game at cricket, but he's involved with the England setup now, cricket. Top lad. I think he's had an award as well, maybe the OBMBE, one of them as well. He's had it.
I mean, you've done me. I haven't got a.
Well, he's got the same name as a fullback who played for Liverpool and England. Same name, different guy.
Phil Neal.
That's it, Phil Neal. Phil Neal. Yeah, incredible. You Google Phil Neal. He's now in the England setup in some capacity with the England cricket. But what a good lad! I just popped in to have a kickabout for Lincoln for 3 months and got his his 10 years life cycle, and I went, wow, no pre-season, just cricket, football, cricket, football, cricket, football. How good's that to play that at the highest level and play at? He played for Worcestershire for I think like 18, 20 years. Ooh, ridiculous. Played at Worcestershire first class cricketer. So
you tend to find a lot of players who are good at sport tend to be good at multiple sports, even if they're not. I mean, he's an exception because he played at the top level for both. But I mean, do you know what I mean? Even looking through school kids when we're going through school days, if a kid was good at one thing, they can be good at 5 sports. And if you're bad at one sport, you're going to be bad at every sport on the whole.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, because amount of players now that play golf, when your legs fall off, we all play golf now. If Marvin ever does come back, I'll let him carry me clubs because obviously I've seen him play.
I drive the buggy. Wayne, that's the one sport I just couldn't grasp. I mean, golf.
But you're pretty good at tennis. You love your tennis and you're decent at tennis, Marv.
But everyone says to me, because a few of the coaches play here, and I said, look, if it was just pitch and putt, I'd do it. I just love to be round the green and just like
the exciting bit. Yeah.
Teeing off. There's anything I couldn't really do was tee off, and it was just like
Now the teeing and the putting's the best bit. The middle bit in the middle. That's the nightmare.
That's where you're looking for your ball, Andrew. The middle bit. The middle bit's where you're putting your ball.
And that's why I stopped playing out here because I have to go into all the rough. And you have to go, and in summer, you're kind of whacking the thing, making as much noise as you can, wait for the snakes to come out. I'm no word of a lie. You're kind of whacking it for the snakes. You kind of make as much noise as you can on the golf course, which goes against every rule possible.
I think it was more to do. Go on.
You know, Trevor Parker out with you. Trev's out there with you, isn't he?
Yeah.
Well, there's an infamous situation where we all played a golf day at the end of the season, and I'm in the rough. You know that shot between the tee and the green, Andrew?
Yep.
Right? Well, I'm in the woods looking for my ball, and I can see Trevor. He knows all this. Trevor's just over there, and I'm looking at him, and he bends down, gets his ball, throws it out the trees, and goes, "I'm out, lads. I'm out. I went, "I know you are, Trev. You've just thrown it," and he's never lived it down. So when you ask him about his best shot when he's coming out the rough, see what he says. All right,
that's Trev. That's typical Trev. That's him. I can just visualize him doing that. I'm out, lads. And let's just start laughing.
I'm out, lads. I found it. Oh, hold on, I've got a shot. I'm out. I said, yeah, good throw, Trev. Well done, mate. Can you come and find my ball now? Yeah. So, but yes. So he was. Phil Neal was a master and a real gentleman as well. So if you ever get a chance to bump into Phil Neal on any part of your podcast or life, he's a good lad. So he's and see if I'll be his best left back or right back. I don't know if I would. There you go.
Centre backs.
Right.
Centre backs.
Centre backs. Yes, we've got a few. It was funny on Thursday when we was all having a get together. Brian Steen was talking to because Trevor Hartley turned up. It was nice to see Trevor. John Sheridan come. Yeah, Trevor come. John Sheridan come. Nobby, Mossy, Jake, Basher, Walshy, me, Mick Saxby, Mitchell. So it was nice.
Ricky?
Rick said he wouldn't be here. And I bumped into him Saturday at the Memorial Day for Woody. So John Woodward had his Memorial Day, which was lovely. And I said, "What are you doing?" He said, "Yeah, I thought I was going to be in Jamaica or America." And I said, "You said you couldn't come." So I did invite him, but he said he couldn't get there. So, but then he popped up on Saturday, which was lovely, by the way. Just going off course a little bit, we did a Memorial Day for John Woodward, who passed away last year, and his wife, and well, his widow now, bless her, Nikki. But so she come with the grandkids, and Mick got the Luton town, kitted them out with the 2 kits, and Mick signed the shirts, and they went on the pitch, and it was a good game. Luton won 7-0 against Hitchin, so Nathan was happy because there was no injuries and got a load of goals, and Berkey was happy because he was just counting the crowd. I said, "Any chance, Berkey, watching the game?" And there was about 1,500 there, so he didn't care how many goals went in. So it was a success all round. Everyone, you know, when they're in perfect days, when everything goes great, sunny day, no rain, it was threatening thunderstorms, but nothing happened. And the crowd come in, and Luton scored goals and no injuries, so everybody was happy. But going back to centre halves, Brian was having this conversation, I think, with Mick Saxby, talking about Paul Elliott and Steve Foster, and I said, you can't compare them. They were both great centre halves, but complete different ends of the spectrum. You know, you had Fozzie, who didn't want to run and was never going to run. And when you played left back, which I did several times, more than several times, I don't know, 20, 30 times with Fozzie, you had to stay half a yard in front of him. And it didn't matter whether the ball was being pressurised or not being pressurised, he was not going to drop because he wanted that trap, a bit like the Tony Adams era, where he wanted that trap that anything that went in the Sharks' den between Les in goal and him at centre half, you're going to be offside. But if you wasn't, it'd be me and whoever's at right back and the centre back alongside him that had to race back and try and make amends. Where Paul Elliott just invited the race. Tet just wanted a race. He wanted to show, a bit like Roger Joseph, he wanted to give the centre forward half a yard, a bit like Walker now, isn't it, for England? Walker just loves having a race, doesn't he? He doesn't want to have anything else. He wants to show you how quick he is and how good he is with his pace. And Tet was exactly the same. So both were difficult to play with as a fullback. There was no sort of up, squeeze. One of my centre-backs that I've picked, probably both the 2 centre-backs I've picked, were masters of working the centre-forward.
Right.
All right? You know that, Marv, how you work.
Squeeze, When the ball goes back, squeeze up.
Squeeze them up, drop off. Squeeze them up, drop off.
Yeah.
Fozzie did it a bit. Fozzie did it, but he'd like to squeeze up and stay up. Paul wanted to stay up and sprint back. So they were two classy centre halves, but in complete opposites. Thank God they never played together. Christ, if they had played together, it'd have been murders. But they were brilliant. They were brilliant, absolutely brilliant, and a pleasure to play with. But was difficult. You had to be on your toes and see which way you were playing on the day, you know, because as a fullback, you had to be ready. When you're playing that high, it's uncomfortable when there's no pressure on the ball.
Yeah.
And you know, Marv, because you're inviting that one in behind, and you're. I had a little bit of pace, Marv, but not Etrasek, you know. So Kilcline, Brian Kilcline, was again just a freak. At 16 years old, we went over to the Blauwit tournament. You must have gone, Marv.
Blauwit, yeah.
Well, I had a hat trick. I had 3 times over there. And the third time I went over with Clive Goodyear as one of the older players in the group. And Kilcline turned up for Notts County. And he looked 10 years older than me. And he was 16. He was just a man mountain at 16. And he just went on to be that colossus of a person. And was a pussycat, really, but come out as an aggressive centre half and hurt people, you know. And if I've got another saying as a coach, is a centre half, as a defender in general, you've got to hurt people legally. Because if you don't hurt the centre forward or the forwards legally, why are they going to look over their shoulder? Why are they going to actually, do you know what I mean?
Correct.
Worry about them. So they've got to mention Baresi. I didn't play with him, right? But Walshy, sadly, he'd have loved to play with me, Baresi. But Walshy played against Baresi once, and he was telling me, no, twice, and he said to me, Wayne, he was that good, and this leads on to one of my centre halves about another player who played against him. He said he was that good with the squeezing up and dropping off that Walshy actually looked for him when the ball was coming into him. He couldn't not concentrate on the ball. He couldn't pin him. He couldn't spin him. He couldn't get over the top because he never knew where he was. So he actually thought he'd get it in the feet. He's offside. He thought he'd go over the top and Baresi's waiting for him. He said it was impossible. You just could not read Baresi. He read you. So you can imagine being a centre forward. You know, when you have a troubled centre forward who's bossing you, but you can imagine when you're bossing the centre forward, which you've done in your time, Marl, but he's that good that the quality of Walshy and them Liverpool players at the time Walshy was playing with Liverpool, they were looking behind themselves where Baresi was, and the ball hit him on the shin or hit him in the chest because he's not looking at the ball. It was incredible to get that synopsis, an idea, an understanding of a top centre half. And one of mine, we'll go for him first, one of mine was that good. He was that good at working the centre forwards. He was outstanding at it. He was outstanding at it.
And this player you played with at Brentford?
Lincoln. Ooh. He went on to have a great career.
Did he have bushy, curly, like a curly hair? Did he, afro sort of? Was it curly?
You're thinking of Steve Thompson, it weren't him?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
It weren't Tomo. No, he had the best mirror and best comb and loved himself with all the oils. He was the best. I love myself, Tomo, but he weren't the best centre half. The guy who played alongside him.
Oh, not the one. He went to Coventry, and then went to Luton.
Who's that?
Trevor Peake.
Peaky was at Lincoln.
Yeah,
Coventry and Luton.
That's where I never drunk an alcoholic drink until I met Peaky at 20 years old at Lincoln. That's where it all started going wrong, Marv. He took me out. We had I never drunk alcohol till I was 20, just before my 21st birthday. I had my 21st birthday at Lincoln. And Peaky had got me having a couple of little pints, at lunchtime. I'm like, I think, what are you doing? And they had tadpoles in the pint in Lincoln in these pubs, like the tadpoles going around in this pint of ale. And I thought, oh my God, I can't drink that. He goes, get it down your neck. So we had a couple of sherbets that are horrible, but I started getting a taste for it. Well, it looked like tadpoles. It was a ferment of the ale. You know what I mean? It was like floating around. It looked like tadpoles were swimming around in it. And we had one day where we'd finished and we were going up the golf club for bangers and mash and a pint of this ale. Anyway, we got told on the way there that we were coming in the afternoon for training in the gym, doing shooting. I had a pint. I couldn't see the ball in the afternoon. I'd only had a pint, and I'm like all over the place, and they're all giggling and laughing. And I was like half cut. I'd had one pint of this tadpole stuff, and it's Peaky's fault. But just to digress, before I'll tell you one thing about Peaky. When I had my 21st up there, we had Lincoln had a local derby against Scunthorpe, and it was the night. It was the day of my birthday, my 21st birthday. I think it was a Wednesday or something like that, a Thursday or something, Wednesday night, Tuesday night. So I had to stay in the night of my 21st, and I was in this rubbishy little bedsit, and it was so horrible. The wind was blowing through the window and it was shut, blowing on my 21st birthday cards over. And I'm like that thinking, what am I doing here? What am I doing here? So I get up for the game, and Colin Murphy, bless him, he said to me, Wayne, he said, you stayed in last night, didn't you? I said, yeah. He said, well, you're going out tonight then? I said, oh, no. He went, yeah, you're going out with me. He said, and the lads, and we're taking you out for your 21st. He said, so make sure we win the game and we'll go out. And what you got to do is come in the boardroom and tell my wife that you're coming out with me, that I'm coming out with you. You've promised, I've promised you I'm coming. I went, right, okay, right. And sort of thought, Anyway, first 5 minutes, they get a lad sent off. We beat Scunny 5-0. We murder them. So we love it. I'm in the bar. I've got my night out. I'm going out. And Murph, don't forget, come in the boardroom. So I knock on the door about half hour later. I said, hello, Gaffer. Don't forget, we're going out tonight for my birthday. You what? I said, we're going out for my birthday. Are we? Oh, Christ. Oh, sorry, love. Look, I can't let him down. It's his 21st. Well, you can't let him down. He stayed in last night, stayed in the bedsit. So we've gone out and we've had a good night. We've ended up in the nightclub in Lincoln. I forget the name of it now, but there used to be a little train shop over the road. When you come out, you used to just lean on the window looking at the trains going around, waiting for your taxi. And he come in and he bought a Bucks Fizz. He said, Wayne, come on, Bucks Fizz, all round Bucks Fizz. I went, Bucks Fizz? What's Bucks Fizz? Didn't know what Bucks Fizz was. I went, okay. So he got the girl behind the thing, get the champagne, put the orange juice in. And she went, that'd be £21, Mr. Murphy. He went, oh, give us that here. He took the invoice off. I took the little, it won't be now, will it? I walked off and I went, oh, sorry, love. I walked off with me bottle of champagne. He had the invoice. He had the receipt. It was great. And he signed me the next morning for another month. But anyway, Peaky. Peaky's your one, right?
Yes.
Remember Paul Furlong?
Yes.
Paul
Watford.
Furlong,
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, Watford.
QPR,
I come back, you might have been playing, Marv, because I come back reserve team coach for Pleaty, and I went up to Vicarage Road, and you had him on a Tuesday night or something. And Furlong has just come from Enfield, and he was on fire. He'd been there about 9 months, 19 years old, smashing in goals for fun. And he played against Peaky, and Peaky done a Baresi on him. It was absolute. And I was sitting on the halfway line, watching the game, doing bits for Pleaty. I wasn't full throttle with the first team, but I was doing bits. Maybe the lads, the squad players, run them afterwards and all that stuff. So I was involved, but not assistant manager at the time. And I just watched Peaky. Oh my God! In the end, Furlong ended up going. He didn't know what to do. He just didn't know. He was so physical, so quick, so powerful. He wanted a contest, and Peaky did everything except give him a contest. And in the end, it was like he just literally give up. He just give up, and we beat him away at Vicarage Road. And it was just a masterclass. Peaky coming towards the end of his career, well into his 30s, playing a 19, 20-year-old whippersnapper who was going to elbow him for fun and smash him to death. And Peaky just puzzled him. It was as good a display of. Have you ever done that, Marv? You must have worked on some players in your time where you've had to outthink them because you don't want to outrun them anymore. You don't want to out physical them anymore. You just got to outthink them.
Like you just said there about Peaky, you knew, I think, the players who wanted to fight you, and you knew the players who were like a little bit more tricky, who you like to give a bit of a dig. I mean, the likes of, Mark Hughes at Man United when I was young, but still, obviously, I knew he wanted to fight. I knew he wanted to film me and all that stuff. So I didn't really get into that sort of like confrontation with them. So again, I think, like you said, Peaky. I mean, I'm not saying obviously I was like a top player, but I always used to try and, it's like anything, you try and work out different ways. If it's tennis, if it's golf or whatever, you try and find a different way of trying to outwit someone. And I think that's what it's like chess. It's all like different tactical situations. As a manager, you're trying to outwit someone with formations or different, like you're saying, that little 2.5 or 3.5, just playing. I mean, you're always trying to outwit someone. Like the fullback, cat and mouse.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. No, it is. And I think, you know, when you're like Peaky, maybe you're a bit taller than Peaky, but when you're only 5'10.5", 5'11", you're not you're not a man mountain, you're not quick, but you're not slow. You've got to use your brain. And I found that as a kid that I had to learn, which helped me with my coaching when I got older, because I was all right at everything and not great at nothing. So I wasn't lightly quick. My brain was my tool. My brain was what I had. And you have to use your brain to unpick problems on the football pitch. And then you end up being half decent at coaching because you've done that. But when you're blessed with power and pace and you're blessed with this physique that is unmatched for months and years as a kid, you get to that, how many we know, Marv, where they've got to that stage at 19, 20 and just fell apart because now they've met their physicality, they've met their strength, they've met their pace. And Andrew, then they've got nowhere to go with their brain because their brain hasn't been developed to unpick problems. And that's where he was a master, that the tools he'd been given, Peaky, he could pass it both feet, he could play at a great level, at the highest level, pick up that cup final medal without being given the Paul Elliott pace or the Steve Foster strength. You know, it was I think when I see them sort of players, I just love them because they've made the most out of what they've been given. And it's a thinking footballer. So the other one, the other centre half, you'll probably get maybe easy, but again, special talent, a real all-rounder, had a great career, and has gone missing. But you know where he is. You know where he is, but he don't want to come back. So, and if I saw him tomorrow, I'd love to buy him a beer because he meant a lot to me. A perfect gentleman as well, an absolute gent off the pitch.
Luton?
Yes.
International?
Yes.
Mal?
Yes. Have you spoke to him?
No, he's another one I would love to get on.
You've got absolutely no chance. If he comes on, the world will go, wow, he's just buried in Ireland somewhere working for the RSFA, isn't he?
That's going to be my mission then, to get him then.
Get him on. He's working for the RSFA with Seamus Heath. Remember Seamus? Seamus Heath, the left winger?
No,
he didn't play too many. He was a squad player. He did a little bit, but he's quite a big hitter now in the RSFA, and Mal's been working there for a long time.
Yeah, I've heard he's been working with the RSFA, for a long time. A long time.
But he was brilliant, brave, quick, could join, you know, like they're on about Maguire now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mal Maguire walks in on that left-hand side with his right foot. That's what Mal did.
Yeah.
Mal could walk in on that left side centre-back. But that's why, with my team formation, going back to Mitchell, I've always loved a right-footed left-back. And in the shape that I'm playing here with a wide left, that really cheats in between that's where the word cheat comes in, lazy. He sits between the front two and the midfield three. Okay, this wide man sits there. You need him out there when you've got a Mal Donaghy at left side centre-back and Mitchell at left-back, because they need an out ball. You know that lovely one where you just play that little right-footed angle ball wide that starts the triangles off. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what's getting on my nerves in this Euros, which is left-footed left-backs, and it's one of my pet hates every time I watch it. They get the ball and they just roll it back to the right-footed left-sider, centre-back, who's in trouble. Because Ashley Cole used to play around the corner with his right foot and he's outside his left foot. He's one of the gifted left-backs with a left foot that used to pop into the first striker. But left-footed left-backs, Marv, drive me mad. They play more balls back to the centre half. I could still play there. You just get it. You look quite nice. You pull your shorts up. You have a little look round. Give it back to your centre-back. Or you roll it back into your centre midfield player. They don't pop it into that first striker. Do you know what I mean? They don't pop it into the second striker. And it irritates me. But a right-footed left-back does. Or a wide man, a right-footed wide man rolls it into that striker.
Yep.
So you're not going to get my wide left because you've already got it wrong. I know you think it is, but it ain't. All right. So we'll do. We'll go there now. All right.
Well, what we'll do is we'll pause there for a second and hear from our sponsors. Have a little break. Hear from our sponsors, and then when we come back, we will hear from the rest of Wayne's best 11.
Hi, I'm Kelvin Davis.
This is Sean Dyche.
This is Ricky Hill.
My name is Kevin Nichols.
My name is Mark Pembridge.
Hi, my name's Rebecca Lowe.
Kevin Gallen.
Hi, my name is Nick Harford.
My name's Steve Davis.
This is Ian Foyer and
Kevin Foley.
My name's Graham Alexander, and you're listening to
My Best 11.
My Best 11.
My Best 11 podcast.
Great. So we are back for part 2 of Wayne's best 11. We're going to launch straight over to Marv for Marv's 60 seconds. So over to you, Marv.
Best player you played with?
Paul Walsh.
VAR or no VAR?
Getting better.
Which one? VAR or no VAR? Which one?
Yes, if it stays good. Yes.
Maradona or Pele?
Pele.
If you could change one rule in the game, what would it be?
Teach people how to coach on throw-ins. It's not a rule, is it? I'd substitutions be done more efficiently.
Favourite other sport apart from football?
Golf.
Rangers or Celtic?
Rangers.
If you could play for a club anywhere in the world, which club would it be?
Luton Town.
Best person you have seen live play live in person, player?
Oh, Graham Souness when I played against him.
Bundesliga, LA Liga or Serie A for quality?
Bundesliga. Well, they're all one-team leagues, aren't they? Two-team leagues. Bundesliga.
Funniest teammate?
Last one.
Funniest teammate. Well, apart from me. Funniest teammate. Yeah, quickly. Oh God, funniest teammate. Oh, you've done me now. You, Marv. You're doing me. You laugh at me jokes, Marv. That'll do.
You're funny.
You're doing me. You're doing me.
Fabulous. So that's Marv's 60 seconds. Just to recap for those people who are jumping in or managed to have forgotten his team. So far we've got Jake Finley, Brian Burrows, Mitchell Thomas, Trevor Peake, Mal Donaghy. So we're now going to go into midfield. So over to you, Wayne. Whichever of the three, really, or do you want to start on your fake left?
Yeah, well, I think because we got this dodgy 4, 3.5, 2.5, it's dodgy to you two, but it's been my brain for 30 years. So we are in trouble if it's dodgy to me. Yeah, it's a shape that I love. It's a shape that Pleaty introduced, David, in my early years, and I loved the way it was played. So we'll go to that wide left, which is a position that makes it the 3.5, 2.5, because he's the half a player that plays in both slots. He's a little bit in midfield and he's a little bit in the front. Nowadays, all the gurus call it rotation. But in our day, he called it a lazy left, that he'd be sort of trying to stay in that pocket. You know, they call between the lines now and all that stuff. Well, that was happening 30 years ago. But,
yeah, exactly.
You know, we were prehistoric then, and you couldn't do it then, could you? Because no way you could roll into a hole or rotate.
Hey, it was before the Premier League. Football did not exist before the Premier League and Sky Sports.
That's the one. Andrew, you're spot on. So I'm going to try and answer the case for the lads before the Premier League. And we had this great formation. Yeah, and the 3.5, 2.5 was that one player. So he was a great favourite of mine. Loved playing with him. Always secured the ball. Always a threat. And went on. This is where it's going to confuse you, Marv. He went on to have a fantastic career when he left me. Like most people, actually. But no, he did. He went on to have a fantastic career when he left me.
And was this
wide left?
Luton?
No. So it isn't Mossy. Mossy was so
No.
good.
I wasn't thinking it. I wasn't thinking it was Mossy.
Well,
No,
Mossy-
because we've heard that Mossy doesn't use his head, so that's why.
Yeah, he doesn't head the ball. He doesn't.
Yeah, he
And
didn't have to.
we didn't. Yeah.
No, what
I knew you wouldn't pick someone
did,
who wouldn't head the ball.
No. What Mossy did, and you've heard this from several players, that we completely ployed to hit their right back. That when we took a kick, if we didn't play out from the back, we aimed at their right back, who invariably won the header and headed it out for a throw-in, because Mossy just at the last minute had put his neck and his little face across him so he couldn't see it, but made sure he didn't head it. And he just did, and the right back would end up heading out for a throw-in. And we'd set up, because we were brilliant at throw-ins, as Marv knows. And in them days, we had some fantastic throw-ins that made me coach throw-ins. Even to this day, if I put a session on tomorrow, I'll coach throw-ins, because it's the biggest restart in football that's never practiced. It's farcical. And it's the most important thing. You know, you spend 10 seconds shouting at the ref, it's your ball, and then you get it and give it to them. So you might as well say to the ref, it's theirs, and they'll give it to you, because that's how farcical throw-ins are. But Mossy was a class act. But this lad was very similar to Mossy, but younger, and went on to have an outstanding career.
Did he play for England?
England.
Yes, he played for England.
Did he play QPR and then went to Sheffield Wednesday? Did he go to Wednesday?
No, and he went somewhere bigger than that.
Tottenham.
Yes. Yeah, same one. You got it, Andrew.
I think so. Andy Simpson.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Loved him. I think he come from Cambridge, bumped into him at Brentford, had 2 years of him, and he was a young version of Mossy. He could go either way. He was that right-footed left winger again that could roll it into the forwards, follow his ball, or do the little jinx and get it back with a 1-2, or do the little leg over, go down the outside and deliver across. And he was a replica of Mossy. It just shows you, though, that Mossy was at Swindon for 9 years and never kicked on and got to Luton, had his best years in his later life of his career. But Sinners, Andy Sinton, got that recognition and that notice that early in his career and went on to play for England. And they were very, very similar in quality, personality and ability, and just two different eras. It's a real shame. Not taking it away from Sinners, but Mossy never had that same exposure because quality players. And Andrew Sinners down at Brentford was fantastic. And we had a little triangle going. Graham Ricks popped in for 5 minutes from Arsenal. And we had a couple of months of Rixie. And the three of us played in little triangles week in, week out. It was fantastic. And you had Rixie coming to the end, Sinners at the start, and me in the middle. And it was lovely. So that was quality. But going
back to your throw-ins, Wayne, just quickly, going back to your throw-ins, I heard Klopp got a throw-in coach in a year ago or 2 years ago to do the throw-ins.
You're spot on. It's amazing. But I find it, I'd struggle now, Marv. If I went, not that I'd get a chance now, but if I went and coached in the Premier League, I'd find it so strange. Do you know what I mean? I've got the fitness coach, I've got the nourishment coach, I've got the throwing coach, I've got the back four coach, I've got the midfield coach, I've got the front coach. I'm thinking, what am I coaching? Am I on the coach? I might as well sit on the coach. Because you just got no time with the players. You remember when I coached you, it was all me. I loved it. Yeah. You know what I mean? You got from start to finish, the warm-up coach, the warm-down coach. Where'd you fit in? Do you know what I mean? Where'd you do anything? And I think that when you've got a throwing coach, I think the idea is fantastic. But where's the coach who loves the shape, who's doing the... Yes. You know, you got to talk about your shape, who's coming up for the throw-ins, who's taking the throw-ins, who's involved in the throw-ins. Well, surely that's down to the first team coach who's doing the team shape. And there must be so many people involved, Marv. It must be bonkers. But at least they're addressing it, because throw-ins have been dreadful over the years. But I actually do, or I have done in the past, you do crossing and shooting sessions with starting with throw-ins. You just set up throw-ins, you've got 3 different throw-ins, and you end up, and the opposite side crashing the box late. Then you have another turn, they throw from that side. And it's great, but throwing coach, do me a favour. It's amazing, isn't it? But do you know what I mean? It's like having the old, what's he called in American football? Yeah, having him coach, the old quarterback doing his bit. Do you know what I mean? So But I think, I think throw-ins are a massive part. But to get a coach in, specifically to do throw-ins is a bit. Can you imagine him warming up, waiting for the lads when he's waiting for the lads? Who are you? I'm the throwing coach.
Fabulous. So next to Andy Simpson in central midfield or somewhere across the three.
Yeah, well, this lad again could have been Brian Horton, who was a big inspiration to me, my skipper at Luton. Could have been Mal when he sat in there, but this lad sits in midfield. He's got some legs, had a great career. Not at a high. Well, he started at the highest, but popped into me, done some stuff for me, covered the ground. I think he's out with you in the States now. I read earlier today, doing a bit. But great lad, great sense of humour, real top set. Loves a joke like Marv and Mitchell and the boys. Good player, and played 500 plus. Been around the block a few times, and could put his foot in, could see the game, back the play up, but every now and again would hit a rasping shot and get us a goal.
Did he have was he at Southampton? Did he ever play for Southampton?
No, I had two great midfield players at Lincoln with me that went to Southampton, George Shipley and Glenn Cockrell.
Yeah, that's who I was thinking.
Yeah, in my year at my 4 months at I had some great players. Remember Tony Cunningham? Laurie,
yes,
they called him Laurie, the big black centre forward. Tony, great lad, good striker. Phil Neal, we spoke about. David Gilbert, Naylor Felgate, Steve Thompson, Trevor Peake, Glenn Cockrell, Tony Cunningham, and George Shipley. Gordon Hobson went big money to Southampton as well. That was a really good side,
This one you're talking about. What club was you at with him? This one.
I was at Brentford with him. Stevie Perryman signed him. Frank.
That's what I was going to say. I was going to say Perryman.
Now, Steve Perriman's on my subs bench just because I wanted to put him on a subs bench because he sold me at Brentford when I didn't want to go. He got rid of me, so I thought I'd put him on a bench. But he's a great lad, Stevie P. But no, he would be a 60 midfield player. But this lad he got him in. He was decent. He played alongside me. We did all right together.
Did he?
And then when I left, he took over my role. Who?
Was he a manager as well?
No. He's gone coaching. I read today he's coaching women's football out in America. Or he has been.
Oh, shoot.
And he got coach of the season in 2009 or something, a few years ago now. Played for Chelsea. He started his career at Chelsea. You remember Paul Canaville, all the abuse from the shed? Well, he played alongside Canners. And he got a bit of stick, but not the same, but he had to cope with it, bless him, because he was a black lad. And he did the same as Canners.
I can't think of his name. I know who it is now.
Black lad, midfield, ran all day, put his foot in. I loved him as a lad as well. Great lad. Loved to laugh, but knew when to get off.
No, I'm not going to. Andrew?
Is Keith Jones. No. Jonesy. Keith Jones.
Keith Jones.
Jonah. He's out in the States, apparently.
Is he? I mean, did he play for Charlton as well?
Went at Charlton, done really well at Charlton. Played a lot of games at Charlton. He finished at Charlton, I think. So that was him coming to the end. But with my midfield, as soon as wide left, the attacking midfield player next to him in a minute, and the tucked-in right-sider, you need someone who can run all day and boot people. And I can't play because it's my team, so it had to be in. And it couldn't be Brian Alton because he wouldn't run all day. He'd run most of the day, but not all the day. So Jonesy at that age was great. He put his foot in, he'd done a job. And as a lad, coming from that Chelsea situation and getting on with his career and doing really, really well, I admired him as well, He was such a good type, strong character. So Jonesy, so you got him and Sinners. You got Sinners, Andy Sinton tucked in on the left. Could have been Mossy, but I've gone from Sinners because he got the England cap. Jonesy in there. Then the next one, I got him right at the very end of his career. You'll get this one. I got him right at the very end of his career. Just a gifted footballer that I'd imagine in his early years was awesome. Could create and score and do anything he wanted. He was that gifted. Yeah, come to me late in his career.
I'm going to throw out there. I reckon you've already said his name.
No, I haven't.
No, it's not Graham Ricks.
No, not Rixie. No, no, it's not Rixie.
When you mean end of your career, do you mean at Barnet?
End of his career.
Oh, that's what I was getting at.
Oh,
The end of his career, not the end of Wayne's career.
Oh,
that's
no,
what I was...
No, good shout, Rixie. No. We had a few of them. I had Chris Kamara, Kenny Sanson, Brian Marwood, all them. I think I finished them all off. Phil Chappell. I saw Phil Chappell. You know Phil Chappell?
Yes.
He's chief scout at Luton now. He's head of recruitment. And I bumped into him Saturday at the Hitchin game. He said, "Hello, Wayne." I said, "Hello, Phil." He said, "Yeah, you finished my career." "Oh, no, all right. Brilliant." He said, "Yeah, you dropped me when you was assistant manager at Peterborough with Bazza." He went down a manhole, Marv, started the second half at Hull away, and that was it. He never come back out the manhole. He finished at 30, and then he started as our chief scout. He's never looked back in 20 years. He had a great time. So he said, "You've done well for me." But no, I didn't finish this lad's career. But he come to us. I think we was his last club he played for, and he's an absolute legend.
He come to the end of his career. Oh, did he play at Tottenham as well? Did he play at Tottenham? Oh.
No. He's one of the all-time legends at this football club, the club that I was with at the time.
Oh, the club he was at the time?
Yeah. Well, put it this way. There's a lot of talk about him, about being the club's saviour, right? But it's not quite true. Because if I hadn't come off for him to go on, he wouldn't have been the club saviour. I was the real saviour by coming off. If it hadn't have been for me coming off,
right,
I dread to think what had happened.
Oh,
we'd have lost the game.
Oh, I got it. Was he manager of Real Madrid?
Yes.
Oh,
yes, Raddy.
Raddy Antique. Yes. Okay, right.
Raddy.
Yes.
Raddy.
Yes. Quality.
Love the clue. Love the clue.
Yes. Yeah.
Great clue.
But he gets all the credit for keeping Luton up. But if they'd have took me off, Andrew, we'd have gone down and he'd have never come on. So I don't get all the Ferrari. I'm thinking Wayne's the saviour because he got taken off with 8 minutes left. Played 3 at the back. He went on, smashed in the winner. And I said to David on Thursday, you know the infamous run he does in that dodgy beige suit?
Yeah.
Completely. I said to him, do you know where you went when you got to the end of that run? And he went, yeah. I cuddled me captain, Brian, and Brian was sitting next to him. And I went, yeah, do you know I was cuddling Brian when you got there? He went, no. I said, me, you elbowed me in the chops. He went, cheers, Brian. Swear, you watch that clip, watching to the end of the run. When he gets there, I'm already cuddling Brian Nobby, and he comes and elbows me in the chops and the side of the face. Get out of the way, Wayne, I need me skipper. He went, I never did. I said, you did. He battered me. So you got Raddy in that midfield, who was absolute class. To do the reverse pass, don't watch the eyes, to just nick round the corner, get it back, go past people, and nasty when he tackled you, really nasty. You know, I mean, he could really hurt you. I'd love to have seen him in his early career. I bet he was frightening. You know, he come to us as a libero, which weren't going to happen too much in our football when he arrived in our shores, the libero. But he popped up in several positions. But if you had him as an attacking midfield player nowadays, in his prime, oh my God, Jonesy sitting, Raddy picking his runs, picking his quality passes to your front players, it'd be a force to reckon with. So Real Madrid, Barca. David was telling me he's got a seat in the dugout with his name on that no one sits in at Real Madrid. Really? That's some honour that is.
Cool.
So
wow, even something like deep.
They're going to put me in the lawnmower store, just sitting in there in a chair.
What they'll do is they'll give you at Kenilworth Road just before we move to Power Court. We've got one for you. Yeah, it's at the Alpha Ground.
They're gonna name the stand as they put the digger through it. That's quality. The Wayne and Marvin stand as they put the first digger straight through it. That's brilliant. That'd be great. That would. So
next to Raddy.
Next to Raddy.
Yeah, next to Raddy now. It's going to be an easy one, and I couldn't think of anything clever. I've had some good right sider. We mentioned Eddie Steen, which was outstanding at Barnet, a different level, I know, but he'd played for 100 years there. Do you know what I mean? I think he was like 2,000 games, Eddie. He just turned up to about 42, kept running up and down. He was fantastic. Gary Parker deserves a mention. Frankie Bunn. Yeah. Gary Parker was incredible on that right-hand side and went on to have an unbelievable career at Forest as a lazy left. You know, we talked about this lazy left. He would go out on that Forest one because Cloughie loved a right-footed left back and a right-footed wide left. He had Robertson, did he, for years? Yeah. He'd go either way, Robbo. And then he had Parks, who just rode in on that left-hand side into them pockets and was phenomenal. So Parks needs a mention. Frankie Bunn, they went on and had a great career, and both of them could play in that hole. But the one you don't need to guess, it's just an outstanding lad and an outstanding player. My main man, you know what I mean? And we all loved him. So let's just move on.
Yep. I've already written his name down. I wrote his name down already.
Everyone's had him in his team. Every single one who's played with him at Luton or some time has had him in his team.
Yeah. Ricky, you can't help it, because I tell you for why. Ricky played that role. There is a real, and I've coached it since, and that role, that right-handed sided player who has to tuck in and get out, so it's like an in-to-out role, is the hardest role to play, because you've got to be in the right place at the right time, and you've got to be 2 or 3 places ahead of the game. So you're sitting there, arriving there to receive that pass. You're not wide right, you're not right midfield, but you do need that crashing right back. You need that right back to get round you, time on, time out, because to give the side the balance. But Ricky, with Kirk Stevens at the time, had a great understanding, as Mossy did with me or Mitchell, whoever was playing at left back. You had this fantastic shape, this 3.5, 2.5, where Ricky done so much running that was unseen. Apart from his quality that he undoubtedly had, he had to cover so much ground to cover that little inside right role. And it was being in the right place at the right time to execute so many good things. And when he got there at the right time, it was a formality that he 99 out of 100 made the right decision. So Ricky's your man. Ricky's your man all day long. And, you know, I think he got bypassed because he wasn't quick enough to be a wide right. He wasn't defensive enough to be a right of 2. So David Pleat's team was beautiful for Ricky, and Ricky was beautiful for him. They married for each other. And that's why I don't think he got the move. I don't think he got the move because at the time everybody was playing 4-4-2, 4-2-4, and Ricky wasn't that. We wasn't that. That's why Mossy was an acquired taste on the other side, because you had that lazy left on one side and Ricky on the right. And them 2 players were the pinnacle to that shape. Incredible, really. And that's why I can only think he never got the move he deserved, because everybody was playing 4-4-2. I'm not saying he couldn't play it. He could have played wide right. He could have played right of 2, but he'd have been maybe stuck out there or stuck in there. With this formation, he could rotate. Again, here we go, rotate between the lines. Yep. Ricky was rotating in that system for 10 years. You know what I mean? A lot of sides weren't. It was get it wide, whiz it in, crash in the box. You know, we've got the best players. We spent most of the money. You do your job. Wide right, get wide. Wide left, get wide. Tuck in, get into out, up and down. I'm not saying he couldn't have done it, but I think he was maybe a victim of his own success in that system with Pleaty's brainchild, really. Brilliant what Pleaty did.
No, definitely. Definitely. So strikers, the last 2.
We got 2 up front, because what I did have, I had a front 3 when I was going away from, you know, my 4-3.5, 2.5. I had a 4-3-3 in my locker, which was against everything I thought about, because I have played it as a coach. Of course, I've had loads of systems like Marv has. You have your 3 at your back. But if I had my favourite system, it was this. So I've ended up with a front 2. And that could have been two of any three. And sadly, the one that's missed out is Steenie. He's on my bench. But the other two, I've got to give a couple of mentions. And one of them is a lad called Gary Blissey.
Oh, it's a Brentford. I played against him.
Oh, my God. What an handful he was.
Yeah.
Bliss, you tell me about him when you played against him, Bliss.
Oh, horrible. I mean, like, I think he was like a massive man mountain, and like he was aggressive. He was like strong in the air, and he could score goals. So I wouldn't say he was blessed with a lot of pace, but I mean, he wasn't slow at the same time. But like I said, he was a big handful. I played against. I remember him at Brentford. Well,
Bliss come from Crewe, and I only had 2 years of him, and he was nasty. He was a smaller version of Mick Hartford, really. You know, he was Mick Hartford-esque. He was that style, could play, could leave his elbow in, leave his foot in. And we had a game at, you know what Boxing Day's like? It's the worst game of the year, isn't it? You've had the biggest Christmas dinner. You've had a couple when you shouldn't have done on Christmas Eve. You're not drunk Christmas Day, by the way, but you've had a couple. We go to Fulham away, which is a West London derby for us, right? First minute, he does the centre half. Gets sent off. Literally does the centre half, lays the centre half out, they sub him, but they can sub him. He's off. We've got 89 minutes with 10 men. And I'm thinking, I'm going to lay him out. And then when I walk in, he's the most lovable bloke on the planet. He's the nastiest person on the pitch, and you want to kill him, whether you're playing with him or against him, because he drives you bonkers. I'm sorry. Anyway, he just lays him out, and that was him. But I've read his stats, Marv. I loved him as a player. And I thought, you know, back on the back post, could link it, could get in behind, not slow, but not quick. He got over a goal every 2 games. He got 275 goals in like 580 odd games. It was like he was just over one every 2 games, which is incredible. I know it wasn't at the highest echelons. He even got 25 and 60 for Wimbledon in the top league as a bit of a squad player for 2 years. But at his level, he was a poor man's Mick Hartford, if you like, because he was that strong, that powerful, that nasty, but like Mick, a lovely guy off the pitch and knew how to enjoy himself. So perfect teammate, you know what I mean? So Bliss needs a little mention. In me, Tony Cunningham I spoke about, was brilliant at Lincoln, went on to have a great career, done well for us up there. So there's sort of 2. But poor old Brian's just ended up on the subs bench with Stevie Perriman, because I'm allowed 2 subs nowadays. Don't worry about the 7 subs you're allowed nowadays, which is ridiculous. It's unbelievable, isn't it?
It is.
You've got a team on the bench.
It's mad. It's mad.
It is
absolutely bonkers that you have to carry that squad and, you know, pay them, do whatever you do. And can't get appearance, Mark. Remember, we not try to get on for a bit of appearance, didn't you? Put me up for 5 minutes so I can get me 20 quid. 2 games a week, that's 40. That's brilliant. So, so my front 2. One, you're going to get, because I've just
get easy. Get the one easily. Your best mate or your best buddy with it, or you hang around with.
Well, both of them you're going to get, because I love both of them. My best mate and the one I've just mentioned, though, you can imagine them playing together, because Walshy and Steenie were a revelation together when they played together as a duo. We just loved rolling into their feet. And I'll give you a little story. When I played with them 2, I had a whole season, which was great. I had probably 2 seasons I loved at Luton. They were both playing in midfield, because I played left back quite a bit, about 60 games, but it weren't me really. But I played in midfield for 2 seasons. My second season, I just kept rolling into them 2. And all you had to do, Andrew, as a midfield player, was get it into their feet in and around the box. And it was like job done. Yeah. You know, I mean, you did all the water carrying, you did all the graft, you did all the battering around, smashing into people, get it, and just get a clever ball into them, either blind ball or round a corner outside the foot, and it just come alive. You know, it'd come alive, and you'd go, how did they, you know, and you'd just admire from behind, get a little setback, slide someone in. They were that clever. I then got the move to Coventry, and the first game, I've slid this great reverse pass into Seal Regis. It's come straight back past my ear holes. And I've gone, oh, ain't you meant to look after that, see? And you meant to do something with that. And the last thing he wanted was a ball into his feet. I had to quickly rearrange my brain, and he was going Benno wide right and Pickering, a lad called Pickering wide left, whizzing crosses in for him. That's what I had to do, or get it down the side for him. He was not interested in me doing what I'd just done for 2 years solid, little reverse balls into his feet, in and around the box. No chance. And it was amazing how you quickly had to change your mentality as a midfield player. So Big C was a colossus of a player, lovely man, had his assets, you know, played for England, legend. But for me, in the style that I want to play, right, I've got to have people that can have it into feet and can go wide and get it in from the box, wide into the box. So you've got both of them. Go on, you know both of them. It's easy.
Walshy?
Yeah. And Big Mick.
Yeah, Big Mick.
And I would love them to play together to see what they could do. But I had them as a front three with Steenie as well, if I bomb one of the boys in midfield. But, you know, because Steenie was special as well. He had that ridiculous trick where he went to control it and then just whipped it in one. And, you know, you knew it was coming. You knew it was coming, but you couldn't do nothing about it. And Walshy was the same. He had that little roundabout one. Walshy go boom, boom. Yeah. You know, when he did the lads at Liverpool, which made him when he went to Liverpool, and they bought him afterwards when he under two centre-backs, just took the mickey. Do you know what I mean? It was a pleasure. And then Mick, you know, he's a great footballer as well as a hard man and a great header of the ball. He was just a class act. So I've been very, very privileged. When you look at that team, I've been very, very privileged, and the other lads we've mentioned, to have them games with, you know. And don't forget, I don't think I've mentioned a naughty boy in any of them, because most of the lads I ever played with, I loved. I thought they were great lads. So there's not, you know, obviously you come across a couple, Marv, don't you, who are legends in their own lunchbox, but there ain't many. You know what I mean? They're good lads, Andy, and these lot are top boys. So
fantastic.
Yeah, not just as teammates with real class quality about them, but and all of them loved a laugh, because you have to have a laugh, don't you? Which is what it was all about, you know.
Definitely. We're talking about kind of the team dynamic and that type of thing. The final question we have then is, who is the best manager you've ever worked under? So that can either be leading this one, or it can be your own opinion, who was the best manager for you. Either way.
Yeah, I was lucky, really lucky, that in my coaching career as well, Marv, in my playing career and my coaching career, you've just said about learning stuff, Marv. You learn stuff every day, and you do, and even now. And I remember I joined Luton as a 14-year-old from school. In them days, you didn't have school, but you just did 14 to 16, so nothing before 14 was signed. You signed from 14 to 16s, and then you went on. And I met a guy called Danny Bulgara, who went on to be Stockport manager. And if you get bored, read his book. It's a man from Uruguay. It's come out on Kindle a couple of 3 years ago. And I never knew, but when he turned up at Luton, he was coaching me at Ashcroft School up in Stopsley in Luton on a Tuesday night, Thursday nights. We just did passing, left foot, right foot. I was in awe of him. He was down as a coach driver because he couldn't get a thing to work in the country. He couldn't get his coaching qualifications, wouldn't be recognised in this country. So Harry Haslam at the time had him on the books as a lorry driver, coach driver, lorry driver. And he was coaching me at the time. And I didn't know till I read the book. And I absolutely loved Danny. He was an inspiration. And he used to go, Khaywani, you're a right little shitty. Khaywani, you're a little shitty. You talk too much, but you must listen more. You're too little shitty. He said, you're too bright for your own good. And I loved it. And he told me I was a thinking footballer at 15. And he said some great things, you know, when you're in the middle of midfield, look before you receive. And you're like that little birdie on the grass. You know, where's the putty cat? Where's the pussy cat? Where's the pussy cat? He said, pussy cats catch you, you're dead. So I loved it. And he was my first inspiration. Pleaty then took over as our coach, our manager. Danny went to Sheffield United with Harry Haslam. And then Pleaty, I was so lucky. Pleaty brought in Ken Guttridge, Trevor Hartley, David Coates, John Moore, all had these incredible, and I picked bits of all of them. You must have done it, Marv. I picked little bits of what they taught me, and I took it with me in my football career. And I'd have to say, David was the first person to do pattern of play. And it was a revelation to do this 4, 3.5, 2.5 in a pattern of play, working towards goal, unopposed. It was bonkers. You'd get the ball and it'd be thrown out, and and I've done stuff similar, but I've done it on rotation. I've progressed all the stuff. I've done it on rotation, that you're coming through in fives, and you know all this rotation of players and movement, and you can set it up in starting positions, but they know where they are. And what it is, it's like jigsaw coaching, that you've got this big jigsaw and all your philosophies in it. And I'm sure David had it in his jigsaw, and you take a bit out, work on it, put it back in, and you never change. That's your philosophy. Obviously, you tinker with things, but that's your philosophy. That's how you want your fullbacks to play, this and that. And completely, David had that vision in his first time at Luton. He was phenomenal. His second time, I think he'd be the first to admit he had his eye off the ball. He wasn't the same person after his disappointments with Tottenham, etc., and he come back. The first time, though, in what I think Phil Duffy's writing that book about now, Marvin.
Yeah.
The lad that's writing the book, Oxford City, is interviewing us all, isn't he? That era that he's talking about was incredible. He weren't kind to me at all, because I was a youngster coming through, and he trod on me. He weren't too worried about me. He was worried about his superstars who were going to pay his mortgage. I weren't going to, I'd be lucky to pay for his coal bunker. But the big superstars were going to pay for his mortgage, and they were his ticket out of there, which proved the case, because the big hitters that are in this team, or would have been in my best Luton team, was his players. He signed them all. And I think what he did, he told me that he had 3 years of reserve coach and went to games because he's a Barry Fry. He's like I was in my early years, early years, probably 12 years, 15 years. He went to games 5 times a week, different games. And he had a dossier of the players he loved. Offered them to Harry Haslam, didn't really want him at the time. As soon as he became manager, he had Mal, Peaky. He had a whole dossier, Mossy, Basher, Brian Steen, Ricky Hill. He had this dossier of players that he'd seen. And not just one was superb, there was 9 superb. So forget his management, his actual scouting had happened 3 years before, over that period where he'd done the mileage. And you can't, in them days, there was no stats, no internet. You had to go and see, I've got a pile of team sheets in my loft, probably they're massive, it's farcical. You just put little notes on every team sheet, and that's how you did it, and that's what he did. And so then had Don Mackay and John Sillett and George Curtis, who weren't the best, I've got to be honest. Frank McClintock was decent, Steve P was decent, Barry Fry was loony, but a fantastic manager. At Barnet, could tell you so many, we could have another 2 hours, Baz's stories. But I'd have to say David Pleat was the best because he was ahead of his time. Colin Murphy was special at Lincoln. He had a way about him. Lenny Lawrence, Marv, was his assistant. That's how I met Lenny.
Really?
So when I become assistant manager to Lenny, it was because I knew him at Lincoln. It was out of him and Walker at Norwich.
That's right.
Yeah,
because Lenny was on. He told us the story. Yeah.
Yeah. I bet he don't tell you the other story where I met him down in the town, and he said to me, if you go back up and see Kohler and tell him that I'm the manager, you'll be my assistant. I went, I'll be up there in a minute. So and that's what happened. I went and saw David Kohler and said, Lenny's your man. And obviously I think he was going that route anyway, but that's how I become assistant manager, because he knew me, trusted me, and we had a good 3 years. But but I'd have to say to you both, all the managers that I've ever met have been ruthless. Ruthless. So
in what way, Wayne? Do you mean?
To me, they've been ruthless to me.
To you?
To me, they've been ruthless to me. David, Barry Fry, Lenny Lawrence, you know that one. Stevie Perriman, ruthless, because that's football. And I get fed up listening to people bleating on about, they've been sacked, they've been this. I got number 2 to Lenny because I bumped him down in Bury Park, and I helped him, he helped me. But you get it by default, you lose it by default. But every way I left them managers who I really respect and love, all of them done me. All of them done me.
Yep. Well, you mentioned you mentioned the Coventry thing, chucking out after 6 months before. You mentioned Perryman, happy to get rid of you.
Well, David Pleat told me that we went for my new contract when I was a player. I've been there 8 years. We sat down in the Chiltern Hotel just for one of the last games of the season. I was in the team, flying, best I've ever done. 2 years, centre midfield, just signed Peter Nicholas, just signed Nico on a fortune. I wanted a little pay rise. Can't do that, Wayne. And more so, Wayne, if you have another 2 years, it'd be a testimonial. And if you think about it, you've only played in the first team 6 out of 10 years. So that's not fair. I went, oh. So that was me. He said, so the best thing you can do, Wayne, is go. And that was it. That was it. So I went to Coventry, got the money I was looking for, got me signing on I was looking for, but didn't want to be there. Drove home from Coventry crying. 25 years old, coming back from Coventry, what have I done? Loads more money, better deal, better place, and then I become a mercenary then, Marv. That was the day I fell out of love with football as a player. I did. Do you know what I mean? And then as a player, yeah, George Curtis, Stevie Perryman took over from Frank McClintock. Now I was the highest paid player at Brentford, right? Yep. Had a few injuries from the back, coming to the 29, eventually had a prolapse disc, but they didn't know that at the time, right? So I was having problems with my back. Some games had an injection, and the lads tied my boots up because I couldn't bend over. It was farcical. But he come up to me the Thursday before we kicked off on the Saturday. I'm captain, done all pre-season, and I remember him looking back, saying, "You all right, Wayne? Is your back all right?" I went, "Yeah, I'm fine." "You sure?" "Yeah, I'm fine." Come up to me. I didn't know. They'd been trying to sell me for the 8 weeks of end of season, been trying to sell me. Fell through. He gave me a week's wages on the Thursday. Said, "You finished." I went, "What?" Said, "You finished. See you later. Chairman don't want you. You're too highly paid and we couldn't sell you." I went, "What?" And that's all I had, a week's wages. Went home.
What did you know? You had no contract though. What about your contract?
No, I was out of contract. They kept stalling me. I'd had my 2-year contract, kept stalling my contract, and you got to July the 1st. Well, in them days, they were trying to sell me up to July the 1st. Right? Because there weren't no Bosman. They were trying to sell me up to July the 1st. Come to July the 4th or August the 4th or whatever it was, oh no, sorry, comes, see ya, gone. And that was a Thursday. I had nowhere to go because everybody got their team settled for Thursday for the Saturday. So then I had a choice between Port Vale, John Rudge at Port Vale on the Friday, or Barry Fry Barnet. I thought I'll start my business up, which I've never looked back, but I'll start my business up at Barnet. And then coached after that, so it was a weird one, but the coaching was awful. The way you get carved up when you're assistant manager, oh.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I enjoyed your coaching when you said I enjoyed it. I mean, you've made some big impacts on a lot of players' career. I mean, we had Jonesy on, Nathan Jones. He spoke about obviously when you used to take that group of the reserves and all that, and the detail of the coaching. He enjoyed it, so you've had an effect on a lot of players. So I mean, even though you're saying you've been carved up and that, you've affected. Oh,
Marv, I wouldn't change it for the world. No, when I say I've been carved up, I got what everybody gets. If there's a problem and it can be shifted to somebody else, you're the one that gets shifted. So you're the one. I didn't regret any of it. I loved it. I loved you lot. I loved my players. I loved my jobs. I've never ever in all my life applied for a job, so I must have done something right.
Yeah.
So I've been offered coaching jobs all my career. I've just been offered one today. Right? I have. It's amazing. I've been offered one today. And I've said no because I'm retired. But it's amazing that I'm still being offered jobs and I still love going to see games. Nathan's invited me down when I come back. I'm going away for a few weeks down to the ground because I get really on well with Nathan, Mick, obviously. So I love it. And I love being respected. I love talking football. I love seeing. I wouldn't change anything. I love you. I love Thorpe. And that's what I'm saying to you. Pleaty, Stevie Perriman, Barry Fry, Lenny, all done me, but I totally still care for them because they done me because it was either me or them.
Right.
And number one, you got to look after number one, you know, and that's what they did. So you don't worry about it. It's like football. It's amazing. And what does me is when people do moan about it, you go, well, what do you expect? It's football.
Yes,
it's football.
Exactly.
You get the job. You probably didn't deserve the job, and you didn't deserve to get sacked. So stop moaning. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, that takes us on to our last question. I mean, I think everyone knows. They know you love it. What are you doing now? Obviously, I think that's one of the reasons. Like you said, you've turned down the coaching job today. Obviously, one, you've retired, and two, you don't really need it because you've got about 255,000 houses you've built. So
more than that, Marv.
But yeah, for those who don't know, Wayne, who's listening to this podcast, who are not Luton fans and don't know of you, what are you doing now, regards in your life, meaning wise?
Right. Well, I've had a really busy time. If I tell you, when I went back to do Luton in 2012 to 15, I was running the youth setup overall, and it was a real hard time because we had 103 youth players, Andrew, that weren't protected because the team was out of the Football League. The contracts weren't really real. You know what I mean?
Didn't you have all those people like the De Silva brothers and things like that were effectively poached? And
well, they were just before me, and they got sold. And we did all right with them, but we had a couple that crept out the door that threatened legal action. But apart from that, we had a great nucleus where I would talk to everybody I knew in football and say, come on, if you're going to nick them, pay the asking right. And we got everything. But that was such a hard time because I was in the middle of my business, building and renovating houses. And I was doing 14, 15 hours a day I was getting up. My thing was I'd do Tuesdays all day at Luton and then 3 nights a week and a Saturday or a Sunday. So then the rest of the time I was building houses and renovating houses and running around doing all these different stuff. So Tuesday morning I'd get up at 4:30 and get all my emails ready so that when I got the staff in at 7 o'clock, right, the Luton Town staff, Marv, all the coaching staff, in at 7 to 7:30, we'd start bang on 7:30. They're like that. Right, okay, wakey, rise and shine. And we get it all done and it was efficient and it worked. So I loved it. And then I thought, right, I've got 4 big houses to build in 2015. One of them I live in now. But that was my last, if you like, master plan. I had to get these 4 houses built, which I've done and finished last year, which has enabled me to do what I want going forward now. And we've got another house in the Cotswolds, which we love. So we go down there when we can. That's where we're going next week. So I spend time between here and the Cotswolds. And we've got a little granddaughter now, Rosie, named after my mum, Marv, which is lovely. Spend a lot of time with her and play some golf. Nikki, my wife, who's great, loves golf. So she's out twice a week playing golf, either with her mates or lecturer. She's a member, also a member down the Cotswolds. So I try and fill all my football in what I want to do now, because it's been so hard the last 15, 16 months where you couldn't go anywhere for all of us.
Yeah.
I've now got my sights set on going to see people that I know in the game that have invited me down to watch their training, tie up with them, Nathan obviously being included and Mick. And I'm going to spend my time getting back in love with my football.
Yeah.
But the good thing is they're not paying my mortgage. They're not paying my petrol. They're not paying my ticket. They're not doing anything. I can just go because I want to go.
Yeah.
And I can step in and step out when I want to. And, it's lovely. I've got some good mates at good clubs that I can just pop in now and have a little look. So I'm going to really enjoy 20 years, I'm thinking, Marv. I'll get to 80, right? That'll be really handy to get to 80, as long as my legs are moving and my brain's working. If we come on here in 5 years' time and I repeat everything I've just said, just switch me off, all right? So hopefully my brain stays in order and my body just about moves, and then I'm just going to enjoy me 20 years, 20 plus, hopefully. But I can see myself, going to see the lads, spending time, doing stuff. I've got a coffee with Pleaty in a couple of weeks again. I said to David, I'll go down and see him again down in Radlett. and just really catch up with everybody, you know, which is really nice. And
lovely.
I've got my family, which are great. My son Bradley's a bricklayer now, so I'm pricing a job for him tonight. So I'm still doing a bit of that. Still got me eye on the construction side, but it's all free. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I can't build houses in America or Australia, right? So stay there. It'd be too far.
Lovely. Well, it was fantastic to hear from you, and thanks very much so much for your time. I know all the fans of all the clubs will be absolutely loving listening to all those stories and just hearing your wisdom. So thank you so much for your time. And that was Wayne Turner's
Yes,
Best
thank you, Wayne.
11.